Hey, Coach, how's it going?
It's going good. How about yourself?
Good. I don't know what you were expecting going into that game Saturday with so many freshmen starting and so many new guys starting on offense. But did you feel like, especially in the second half, Chuba, how good did you feel about how Chuba kind of seemed to operate the offense?
I thought he operated well. I thought there was a few times, throughout the game where his feet, he just kind of, was a freshman with 6.5 weeks of practice. But within that, he still got the ball to the right guy. And I think that was the biggest positive. Was his feet may have been all over the place, but but at the end of the day, he got the ball where it was supposed to be thrown to on the majority of the throws. There were throws and reads that we left out there, but I was really pleased with how he progressed. And, part of that progression was we tried to, protect him early and tried to shorten the game drastically. We really only had 4.5 possessions in the first half, 4 possessions in a 2-minute drill. So we strategically tried to shorten the football game and limit possessions. And then obviously in the second half, when he got behind, we're a little more aggressive with him, and he did a nice job.
Yeah, let's talk about Jashawn Corbin and the game that he had and also his development throughout the program.
He's the type of guy you want on your football team. Great kid, smart kid, passionate, brings it every single day. And the type of game he had, he made the safety miss on a critical 4th down and went and scored a touchdown. And he was a vital part of what we did because of all the Wildcat we lined up in. We needed a vet to step up with 2 freshmen, true freshmen in there, that we had to develop a plan to where if one of those guys at quarterback did get rattled, we needed to be able to put somebody back there who could calm us down and not make them have to make every play. And his just maturity and his intelligence allowed us to line up in Wildcat and really take a lot of pressure off those young quarterbacks.
Coach Norvell talked about Chuba's demeanor and just how naturally he doesn't seem to get rattled very easily. With such a young offense, you kind of had to use Saturdays in terms of the players you had out there. How helpful do you think that was for everyone else? And I guess how helpful too do you think that was for him and kind of the game slowing down, it seemed like, in the second half?
Yeah, I think that's just a testament to, how he was raised. Being in a family with athletes. I know his dad told him, hey, if there's one thing you can bring to the game Saturday, it's positive energy and positive vibes. And that's just kind of who Chuba is he's a guy who's going to elevate people around him through his own personality and having that positive outlook. So, I'm not on the field, but just talking to him on the headset, in a very similar to how Jordan operates, but just not, Jordan's not as vibrant of a personality as Chuba, but they both carry that demeanor where nothing really gets to them, and they always keep a positive vibe.
This will be Kerry from Tomahawk Nation.
Coach, we saw the 3rd down issues pop up again this week, and really they weren't too much because of penalties. What do you think led to those situations? Was it 2nd and long? And then how do you kind of fix that moving forward?
Well, to be honest, it was a really weird game 3rd down wise because our first 3 third downs were, or our first 4 4th downs were 4th and 1. So, that doesn't mean, what we did and what we wanted to do was being executed. We were just coming up a yard short. And it happened the first 3 drives. The first drive, we punt, we throw the screen, and we get tackled, and 4th and 1. Second drive, 4th and 1. Third drive, 4th and 1. We get in the second half, and Jashawn scored on a 4th and 2. I believe it was either 5 or 6 4th and 1 or 2s we had in the football game. And what that tells you is we're a yard short on 6 third downs. We're 6 yards away from taking that horrible 3rd down percentage and making it 50% or over 50%. So that was the frustrating part about the game, was how close we were to being productive on 3rd downs, but how bad we actually were. And that's completely different from how we have been because we didn't get those penalties like you mentioned.
Next will be Aslan Hogger-Bandy from Warcamp.
Kenny,
Hey, so there's like this growing cottage industry of people guys like us trying to pretend we know more about football maybe than we really do. And there's film studies and certain websites give out grades. Like, could you indulge us? Like, do you know who the top 3 graded guys like were for you guys offensively, and how much of the stuff that's out there can it be accurate? Because do we really know what you guys are really trying to accomplish when we look at you guys on ESPN game?
Yeah, those grades are somewhat comical because they don't really know what we are asking our guys to get accomplished. And so we don't look at any of those grades that people give out. I know there used to be like one website. Now there's like 15. Every time I look on Twitter, somebody else graded out as an All-American and somebody else graded out at 20%. So it's just, we don't worry about that at all. We have our own grading system based off alignment, which I talked about my last in an interview I did the other day, but alignment, assignment, footwork, and then productivity is how we grade all of our players. And at the end of the day, if you don't align right, if you don't do your job, you're assigned right, and fundamentally you're not sound, but you still get the job done, well, guess what? You need to be on the field. And right now, that's kind of the issue the place we're in is starting all the youth. It's not a youth movement. Those are the best players we have at those positions. And that's what I think people, youth movement know. We're playing the best players on this football team to win. And right now, those are the people that are the most productive. Now, their alignment, their assignment, and their footwork, their grades are not always the best because that's part of being young, but those are the best players we have on the roster. And we just got to continue to develop them, continue to get better. And when we improve their grades that we grade, you're going to see a better football team.
We'll go back to Ira.
It's been an up and down year for Warren. What are you hoping that cash can do for him? I'm assuming you've seen those types of plays from him before in practice, and what's the key now for him?
Just confidence. I mean, he makes those plays in practice. I mean, throughout fall camp, he was in and out of fall camp, but when he was in there, he was making wow plays left and right. I think there was spring ball, or it was either spring ball or fall camp. There was a photo going around or a video of an unbelievable catch and one-on-ones, and he's made those plays. And for him, it's the routine play. That's what the consistency for not just him, but us as an offense, right? We got to be able to make the routine plays. And then at the same time, every once in a while, we got to make those plays he made at the end of the game there. And for him, I just want to see him take that, be confident, and, kind of hopefully ride into some success off of that confidence.
We'll go to Ira for a follow-up.
And then I wanted to ask about the field position's been tough for you guys, starting drives, and I know a lot of that's based on special teams, which isn't necessarily your domain. But how much of a challenge has that presented, especially in these last couple of games, particularly?
Well, I think for us, when you don't get good field position, obviously you have to be more consistent because you have to get more first downs, or you have to be explosive. And right now, explosive is definitely not one of our strengths. So when you're not explosive and you can't create those 60-yard plays out of nowhere, field position's pretty strong. But for us, there's a bunch of teams who score touchdowns and get the ball on their own -25 and continue to score touchdowns. So it's not an excuse. We got to go out there and move the football and go score.
We'll go back to Avon.
I guess Coach Norvell said that you guys are pretty optimistic that Jordan will be able to practice this week. Just how is it going to be trying to manage, I guess, potentially a 2-quarterback system when it seems like both guys might, I don't know how much of the element of surprise, like bringing in Jordan on a sort of running situation would present to a defense, but just, is it going to be kind of more tricky to balance a 2-quarterback system platoon when you have guys with somewhat similar skill sets, or just, I guess, maybe your thoughts overall on that potentially being a problem, if it would be a problem?
I don't see it as a problem at all. We've had 4 starting quarterbacks so far this year. We've had 4 different quarterbacks miss at least a week due to injury or sickness, dating back to fall camp, and Chubbin and Jordan have missed over a month apiece in their capacities. So we're used to the whole guys getting different amount of reps every week, guys getting a lot of reps, guys getting no reps, guys splitting reps. So that's the new normal right now for us. In terms of game day and the operation from that standpoint, I think a lot of that will go into the plan and how we want to attack and where we think the strengths and weaknesses are for both of those quarterbacks versus this defense, who is extremely aggressive and who will try to create those negatives on a every down basis.
Would you like to add one?
And Coach Norvell talks about he liked the way the effort was against NC State, but you ultimately are preparing to win the football games that you guys are playing. I mean, with this defense, Brent Venables, that program, one quarterback's a true freshman coming off his first start, the other one has been banged up. I guess, how do you balance their psyche, keeping them healthy and fresh, but still trying to put together a game plan of we're going to go out there to win, not to look good or anything like that?
Oh, you take the field to win the football game. And that goes back to the conversation of we're playing a lot of young guys, but we're not playing a lot of young guys just to play a lot of young guys. We're playing a lot of young guys because those are the guys that give us the best chance to win. And we're going to do that as long as I take the field. We want to win the game. Now, that doesn't always happen, but that's why we're going to play. And we're going to do everything we can this week to put our guys in the best situation to win the football game. And whether that's one quarterback, two quarterbacks, whether it's a wildcat quarterback, whatever that variation is that we think is the best combination to win the football game, we're going to do it. And with everything they do defensively, we're going to have to try to keep it simple, and we're going to have to allow our guys to block the correct people. I know it sounds so beginner, but we have to be we had the simplest plan I've ever had dating back to high school last year. Or dating back to high school, we had the simplest plan this last game. And there's still times where, there's learning experiences. And it's frustrating, but at the same time, that's who we are, and that's where we are. And we can't lose sight of that. So we got to keep the plan simple. We got to make sure our guys know what they're doing. And then we need guys to make plays. And when you play a team like Clemson, when you play a defense like them, you're going to get one-on-one opportunities. And the game will be dictated by, do we make that guy miss or do we not? And it's beginner, it's simple, but that's what football is.
All right, last one. We'll go back to Ira.
I just wanted to follow up on Jay Sean. It almost seemed like a few games ago, it seemed like he became more authoritative or something as a runner. I didn't know if that's accurate. I mean, that's kind of how it's looked to me. And then also, if it is, coming back from a serious injury, could that have been part of it, or do you think just the comfort level in this offense?
100% the injury. I mean, when you come off a serious injury, a knee injury at running back, that takes some time to just get comfortable. And especially when you don't have a spring ball. So he was going to be back in spring ball, move around. We missed it. We get fall camp. And then in fall camp, he's working through, it's a little sore this day. It's a little not sore this day. So he's getting back and forth in it. And then when he finally feels good, we're not going to let him get hit in a scrimmage because he just got back. So those first few games, he wasn't 100% comfortable yet, but you can see him get more comfortable and more comfortable and more comfortable. And he's just an unbelievable kid, and I'm glad we have him.
All right, thank you, Coach.